Water's real pretty, isn't it?
Gorgeous.
What time is the tide, did I say? 5:40 something? About now.
Yeah. Tide right now.
Mm-hmm. Good evening, mates. Water clarity's really improved up this end.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really nice. High tide is right now. We've got an air temperature outside of 65. It's quite a pleasant evening, actually. Right, just come out and take the dogs for a walk and give you a beach report. I think that wind is looking like southeast or east. You all right, Terry? Someone up on the dune line enjoying the sunset. I think I know that face. Is that Oz? Michael just signed in. That was Oz up on the hill.
Yeah.
In a bit of traffic tonight. Yeah, that water is really good. I'm going to just go down there a bit further and I'll turn and put you in it so you can see what it's like. You see that heron sitting on top of that pole down there? That's where we're going to stop.
There's somebody stuck there.
Have they stopped? I thought they were moving.
And there's the door open.
Might be going to throw his wife out.
She was right again.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Hang on. Someone said, could I explain something? Just see what it says. Hang on, mate. I'm just trying to have a look at that, what you posted. Can you explain? Yes. No, metal detectors. Not permission. You can't use them, period, on the national seashore. They're banned. It's that's been in place a long time. Yeah, you're not allowed any detectors down there whatsoever. This area up here from the first set of sticks on the north side all the way to Port A, you can use metal detectors, but on the national seashore they're banned. Now, if you look at some old maps, old charts of this area, there's a thing called Money Hills, and it's where they used to find apparently the Spanish gold. And there's quite a few of them. It's like Money Hill 1, Money Hill 2, things like that. I actually met a man years ago in the high banks, and I stopped to talk to him. And one of the things I said to him is, how long have you fished this beach? He opened his shirt and he showed me a gold Spanish coin on a necklace. And he said, that long. I didn't ask anymore. All right, we're going to let the dogs out. Look at the clarity of the water, guys. That's a good 8. Now there's a pelican just lifted, and they've been working in quite close.
Right in front of us.
Yeah, so that means that bait has come in with this clear water. Where we were yesterday, go on, you can let them out.
Do you have a jacket?
Maybe.
No.
No? So
Is it a
what?
jacket?
No.
Oh, it is a jacket.
Is it?
No, it's not.
It's overalls.
It's over.
Just open the door, let them go.
Yeah. Come on, girls.
Oh, so where we were yesterday, there was not that I know of. I have got a good story about it. I was when I had my shop on the island. An elderly gentleman came in there. He had to be 90 years old, but he was immaculately dressed. And he said he'd fished what was now the National Seashore, but he'd fished it right back when it was the ranch prior to it being given to the feds. And he said so I'd fished it through the 60s. I mentioned about the Spanish gold and had he ever found any or seen any. He said no, but he knew who got it. And apparently, when the park was being made into a national seashore, uh, some president's wife, the one who they named the flower after, she came down and they were doing the opening, I believe. And he said while that was going on, this guy he knew that worked in the refineries was down there getting his last load of gold. And he bought himself a brand new Suburban. Apparently, he melted the gold into ingots and he brought himself a fuel station. Now, that was the story that gentleman told me, and I'm telling you exactly as he told it to me. And he looked like a real respectable guy. I've got no reason to believe what he was saying was wrong. I'm looking out in front of me, there's a lot of turns. They seem to be working.
Up you go. Come on.
That means they're more likely on shrimp. Now, I was watching them pelicans yesterday and I thought they were hitting mullet. I'm pretty sure they were. But that size bird ain't going to pick a mullet up. And they're running down that second and third gut. You see them turns?
Right in front of us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Miguel. Yeah, that's a true story. I mean, he was a real good-looking gentleman of 90, must have been 90, immaculate, he was. But that's what he told me. Said the guy went to Louisiana and brought himself a fuel station. I went down yesterday and we were by the Nicaragua. We're thinking about diving that come the summer. We'll swim out to it with snorkels on and have a good look around. It's a lot bigger than what you think. You see the boilers, and then I would say maybe 60 foot, 70 foot north, there's another section of it, and there's a little bit to the south of it. But all you see sticking above is the actual boilers. So that's going to be interesting. And that wreck of the Liliane where I filmed yesterday, there was a paper written on that. Now, years ago, Billy showed me that wreck. We went back there, and but he made me promise not to tell anyone exactly where it was. So I'm not going to tell you exactly where it was, and I'm sure you can find out where it was, but I don't want it to come from my lips because I think Billy would come back and kick my ass.
Haunt you.
There's another story I was thinking about Billy, which a lot of people know the written story, and it's the ghost of like the 33. What's on top of that dude? Oh, it's Aaron. And the story, as he told me, he was fishing with his mate. They were shark fishing, and it was late at night, and they heard someone walking towards their camp, but they couldn't see anyone. I'm sure there is gold and silver. Yeah, sure there is on the beach. I'm sure of it. Yeah. You know, all right, let's stick to that story.
Make up your
I'll
mind.
tell you the story of Billy Sandifer and the ghost another day. All right, but this, the galleons actually came ashore, or most of them, in what's called the Devil's Elbow. That's what was the High Banks. So that's the area from about the 18 to the 26, I believe. Although they did have one at Mansfield. Now, it was a hurricane that pushed them ashore, and everyone on the boat, apart from one guy on the boats, came ashore, and they thought their best bet was to walk south. Now, the Karankawa were following them, and what they would do apparently was like stick an arrow in one of the kids or anyone to slow people down. They wanted to slow them down, and they eventually killed every one of them off. There was one guy who was convinced that the Spanish would come back looking for the gold. He lived on the wrecks, so he would spend his time on the wrecks. Hang on, let me just say, that's not Oz. Yeah, it is, yeah. You all right, Oz?
Hey,
Everything good?
yeah, I just took them out for a little bit to mess around. Come here, Goopy.
Do you want to see the dogs?
Sit
Say
down.
hello. Abby and Dottie. Look at Dottie.
Yeah, you don't need any more dogs.
No.
Look at her.
Oh, be careful. She'll snap at you.
No,
if you
she
hold her.
won't.
Well,
So any reports down there?
I don't know. We went down south all the way yesterday.
careful.
Dirty water, all really down south. It was cleaner up here. And what's her name actually caught a red, and that was the only thing I saw caught, to be honest. I had some white, and there was a load of white.
Been a lot of birds working.
I just saw them turns. They must be on shrimp.
Baby.
I don't know.
She'll bite at you.
Anita, I don't know what they are.
And then yesterday we saw the pelicans working over the dirt line. You'd be nice. Grumpy old girl, isn't she? So, yeah, I saw them working over that where the clear water was.
Yeah.
But no,
It'll be
nothing.
good.
It's going to get good.
Yeah.
I expect them jacks to. I'm starting to look for them.
They'll be around soon.
Yeah. Nice to see you,
Bye,
Oz.
guys.
Bye-bye.
So what was I talking about? You remember?
You were talking about the Indians.
Oh, yeah. So one of them stayed on the wrecks. The Spanish came back. He was right, and he had survived. And they found 70% of the gold that they'd lost. Apparently, that's so much of what I've heard or read and pinched. Oz, that was Oz, by the way. Good shark fisherman. Does a lot of guide services. He was saying that, like me, we think them jacks are going to come back pretty quick. Now, I had a question. Someone wanted to know what I use for jackfish. I use a topwater lure. The easiest ones to get are from us at Mirabachi by Daiwa. It's a 3-ounce lure, and we were using them. There was Brenda, Dion, and me. Once we saw them jacks, we were throwing them, and all you've got to do is make sure you get that plug in front of them, and you're going to have a jack. And we had 3 on the beach at one time on that day. So they'll be on their way back. We saw the birds working And Oz was watching that as well. He think there could be bonita under them.
Yeah. Could be.
Hmm. I think they're more likely pushing shrimp or something. It's got to be small. And the anchovy aren't back yet. Good, Tony. I'm glad you enjoy them. What's sad is I've become part of that history.
We used to be the youngins.
Yeah,
Now we're the old farts.
yeah, we are. Yes, we are.
What was that song you started yesterday?
We've grown ugly together in a beautiful way. It's really a pretty evening. That water is really nice. You've got you've got about 3 or 4 sets, about 3 foot, but clarity's right up there.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Good for you, mate. Gotta keep moving. That's the key. Oh, Ralph Wade always said that.
Yeah.
He says you're going to spend a long time sitting still.
We did.
Talking to about Billy Sandifer a minute ago, and they've named a road after him up here now. Captain Billy Sandifer Drive. That man had nothing at one time in his life. He was an alcoholic, and he was proud of being a member of AA, and he helped me stop drinking 20 years ago. And yeah, and you. So he was a real good, but he told me of a time he lived on the beach here, and he said there was a group of them, and that, like all ex-vet back from Vietnam, Billy did 2 tours of Vietnam. And yeah, he used to live on this part of the beach here for a while. He also lived down the National Seashore for a long while. I think he said he spent a year down there, and he got pulled off with pneumonia at the end of the day. And people used to bring stuff down for him. He'd ask them what they want, and he'd get it for them. Interesting guy. He also he worked in Cuba for a while on a fishing boat, and he was also what are them guards called on aeroplanes?
Sky Marshal.
Sky Marshal, yeah. But he told me he lived under a bridge down by Cosways or Market 36, around that area, and he would buy his drink with bait that he caught. He'd sell bait to the camps. And there was an old man who was a dear friend of his, Jim. He was the one that helped him get into AA and all that. And dear old Jim, he was a really super intelligent guy, Jim was, wasn't he?
Very much.
And he worked for NASA as a sort of doctor and that, and he had a drink problem. Funny thing, like if you ever went down the National Seashore during the week, back then, the regulars, they're people who were on the beach a lot. And you would see them down there by themselves in the week. Always like Ralph would be there, Jim would be there, Billy, I was there. All ex-alcoholics, every one of them.
That's right.
Yeah, every one of them had stopped drinking. And Jim really did work hard with AA, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He did a lot with him.
Yeah, but he was, like I was saying, a real intelligent guy.
He had like 3 or 4 doctorate degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chemistry, biology.
Yeah.
Remember what else?
He
Very smart.
He-
Taking the piss out of you.
he did. It reminded me of the story working for NASA of Ralph Wade saying when they put them chimpanzees to check the acceleration of them trucks. They'd get hold of the chimpanzee and put it in this like little rocket thing on rails and send it down super fast. It was strapped in, had a seatbelt and everything. He said you'd never get it in the second time. He said that'd go ape shit. I plan on writing a book about it one time, Tony. I do plan to actually get their stories down, what I remember of them. And I was real lucky to be around them at the end of it, really. Actually, Oz took over Billy's business. Oz worked at the Breakaway shop for a while. He'd wrap rods for us and everything, worked behind the thing. He was a good kid. And then he got this, he went and did this guide business and he's doing real well at it. A lot of people enjoy his guide service. Beautiful sky tonight, mates. So it looks like it's going to go tits up again, weather-wise. Not as bad as it's been, but
Saturday or something. Saturday.
I had to accelerate a bit there. Yeah, so what's the deal? Wednesday is the worst?
I think it's starting Wednesday, but I think the coldest overnight's going to be Saturday.
Okay.
It'll be in the 40s here,
Mm-hmm.
30s anyway.
Well, if it holds off, Thursday we'll go fishing. I mean, if it's not too bad. I've got to go to that council thing on. I could go actually to that council meeting and we'll go afterwards. So I might be able to get some fishing in. 9 o'clock, I think. Do a bit of fishing like Wednesday afternoon. All right, Tony, you all have a great evening. This is Nicolai and Brenda. Stay safe, mates. I'll keep you posted.